We're in Canada, so we can throw in a little français.
Why not? This looks like the winner.
Ooh. We are both very passionate about training, and so I do love this, and about culture, so I love this. What role does training play in forming brand culture?
Oh, wow, good. What happens when you are properly trained?
You feel confident. You feel empowered. You
knowledgeable.
Yeah.
You know what the company wants.
Yeah.
You can have those conversations, right? Because you feel like now you have the knowledge, the experience.
Yeah.
So when you have that, I can look at you as my equal. If we're working together, maybe you have more experience. Maybe you're better at me at something else, but we went through the same training. So I'm confident that I get the same thing with you. I'm not going to feel like less. I don't know this, afraid, anxious, right? And when I have that confidence, that creates a better culture because we can see each other as equals. We can work together. We can share ideas.
Yeah.
I can take advantage of your skills while you maybe want to take advantage of mine, right?
Yeah.
And that is so important to me. When training is not there, it's non-existent, it divides. Because it has people doing different things, thinking they're doing the same thing. And if you don't have a leader that actually looks at that and say, oh, this is not how it should be. Oh, the standards are not the same for everyone.
So how does that disconnect, that inconsistency, that lack of structure, what's the impact that has on the culture of the brand?
When you cannot, consistency again, when there's not that consistency within, let's say, a team, when different people are doing different things and there's that disconnection, how does that make you feel? Does it make you feel part of a group, a family or something? When you need to, let's say I ask you something, you give me an answer, but then I ask somebody else, gives me a completely different answer. And there's nowhere that I can actually find the answer or
resources in there.
Resources, because there's none.
Yeah. That's that's something I think we need to spend a little bit of time on, because let's unpack that a little bit. Resources and training source, right? When you are onboarding a new person, whether that is a new corporate team member, whether that's a new franchise partner, whether that's a frontline team member in your business, having a solid, structured foundation for training is critical to maintaining consistency.
Yep.
Critical to maintaining consistency. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing across the board. Obviously,
we talk about flexibility.
Right. We're not going to be teaching a frontline team member that's working 6 hours a week how to read a P&L, right? Or how to maybe manage inventory. But that's part of a training that you would, give a franchise partner. So there's going to be variations. There's going to be localizations and things like that. But there needs to be a source for finding information. There needs to be a structured plan on how to get from knowing nothing or very little to knowing more and very much. And there needs to be checkpoints along the way to make sure that progress continues. A lot of people think progress looks like you start here and you just go, and you grow. That's how we hope it would work, but it's not the reality, right? It's not the reality. Progress often looks like up and down, up and down, right? Or you go a little bit, maybe spend a little bit of extra time here because you need to learn. You don't have as much experience there, so you might need to, stay there a little bit, learn a little bit more before you move on to the next step. And then you might blow past the next 5. I was talking to another leader recently at a franchise conference that I went to, and she was sharing an experience of a new franchise partner that came on board, came to their head office or their corporate training store to do some training. There were all these concerns about her ability to be successful because she was very timid. She didn't really seem to grasp things quickly. And at the end of it, they decided still to give her a chance. And they put her in her own location. And all that lack of confidence went away. All that shyness went away. She walked in there like the boss that she was and really owned her business. And I asked the leader, the person, what did you learn from that experience? And she said, I learned that you can't always judge a book by its cover. I learned about the impact that environment can have on someone's confidence or how they show up, because she was in a corporate store thinking, I'm not in charge here, right? So that fed into her demeanor and how she chose to show up. So don't assume. Take a look at the environment. Is this person in an environment that they can actually thrive? And also asking good questions about how they learn at the beginning. Not everybody learns the same.
Yeah.
And so she said, next time I will ask those questions ahead of time. Talk to me about your learning style. Talk to me about how you like to retain information or get information. Talk to me about how you like to receive feedback. It's one of the questions I always ask my clients is, how do you like to receive feedback? Those questions, putting in that effort right at the beginning, that's where culture is built. Relationship, connection, right? Consistency.
Empowering people.
Through
training.
Yes.
Because when there's none, just think about, something that we see all the time. So we talk about franchising and how important it is that every franchise, they're doing the same thing. Why do they work? Because you go to XY and you expect the same burger, fries, or sandwich, pizza, whatever it is, right?
Painting job.
Yeah, just, my mind is in food, right? Sorry. True. Service, in your car, lawn,
exactly.
Anything should be exactly the same.
Yeah.
But how many times we have seen that you hire someone who worked in a different company, the same company, but a different location. And it comes to this team. And all of a sudden is doing something completely different. You have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, I've been working there for 10 years. And that's how I've been doing it.
Yes.
And it's confusing. So now, what kind of culture creates that in this team? Let's just look at it from just one restaurant or one location point of view, whatever the business may be.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody comes thinking they're doing something right because they've been doing it for so long.
Mm-hmm. And that goes back to the importance of having the foundational structure in place so that you can always come back to it, right? Back to basics. Back to basics. We talk about the importance of back to basics training. If you're a franchise brand and you haven't done back to basics style training in more than 5 years, even more than a year, when sales are down and things are a little bit slower, it is the perfect time to hit back to basics training and get people back to the foundational parts of what makes your brand work well.
Because it's not about being just an owner. It's being a leader.
Yes.
It's being a trainer.
Yes.
That's what it's all about. You may be great at paperwork. You may be great at customer service. You may be great at doing the product that you do, but are you great at being a leader? Can you pass that to your team, or are you expecting that the franchise that you bought into is doing all that for you? It's about train the
Mm.
trainer.
Train the trainer. Yeah. Yeah. A
See?
must have for all good, strong, successful,
Absolutely.
sustainable franchise systems. Train the trainer.
Yep.